Have you ever noticed how strange conversations have become? You try your best to start one. You smile, you ask politely, "Hey, how are you?" And within seconds, it's over. The energy fades, the words dry up, and the silence feels awkward. Yet in the same room, someone else barely speaks. They don't joke much. They don't try to impress. But when they say a few words, everyone listens. It makes you wonder, what do they have that you don't? It's not looks. It's not confidence in the loud, performative sense. And it's definitely not intelligence measured by how much they talk. The real difference is presence. Most people today communicate as if they're on a stage. They perform. They fill every pause. They rush to sound interesting, smart, or important. And in doing so, they drain their own words of power. The harder they try to connect, the further people drift away. The Stoics saw this problem over 2,000 years ago. They understood that attraction is not created by saying more, but by saying what matters. That calm attention carries more weight than clever words. That silence, used well, is not awkward but commanding. In this video, you'll learn 6 simple phrases and 1 powerful mindset rooted in Stoic wisdom. These are not social tricks or manipulation tactics. They are principles of character. When practiced sincerely, they change the way people feel around you. And when that happens, conversations no longer die. They deepen that core idea, why less words carry more weight. In today's world, noise is everywhere. People talk constantly, share endlessly, and explain themselves even when no explanation is needed. Words have become cheap, and because of that, attention has become rare. When everyone speaks at once, no one truly listens. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. The more you talk without intention, the less value your words hold. Conversations are not strengthened by volume, speed, or cleverness. They are strengthened by restraint. When someone speaks only after thinking, their words naturally feel heavier. People pause. They listen. They sense meaning. The Stoics believe that speech is a responsibility. Every sentence should serve a purpose, not the ego. When you remove unnecessary words, what remains is clarity. And clarity feels powerful. Silence, in this sense, is not emptiness. It is preparation. It creates contrast, and contrast creates impact. People don't respect those who speak the most. They respect those who speak with intention. When you learn to subtract the noise, your presence grows stronger. You no longer compete for attention. Attention comes to you. Principle 1. Tell me more about that. Most conversations fail not because people have nothing to say, but because everyone is waiting for their turn to speak. The moment someone shares something about themselves, the other person feels the urge to respond with their own story, their own opinion, or their own experience. What looks like engagement is often just quiet competition. Imagine someone says, "I've been learning guitar lately." The common response is immediate and self-focused. "Oh yeah, I played guitar in college," or "You should try this method, it worked for me." Instantly, the attention shifts. The moment that could have built connection is lost. Now imagine a different response. "Tell me more about that." No advice, no comparison, no interruption, just curiosity. Those 4 words do something powerful. They tell the other person, "You matter enough for me to listen." When you ask and then stay silent, you create space. And in that space, people open up. They share more than facts. They share meaning. Epictetus reminded us that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listening is not passive. It is presence. Most people go their entire lives without feeling truly heard. When they finally meet someone who listens without ego, they remember them. People don't leave thinking you were fascinating. They leave thinking they felt understood. And that feeling is what draws them back. Principle 2. I don't know. There's a quiet pressure in modern conversations to always have an answer. When someone asks a question or raises a topic, the instinct is to respond immediately, even if we don't fully understand it. We speak vaguely, hide behind confident tones, or repeat something we once heard, all to avoid admitting uncertainty. But pretense is fragile. People can sense it. The words may sound smooth, but the energy feels off. Trust weakens, not because of ignorance, but because of dishonesty. Now consider the impact of three simple words spoken calmly. I don't know. No excuses. No nervous laughter. No apology. This level of honesty changes the atmosphere. It signals security, not weakness. If someone is truthful about what they don't know, others instinctively trust what they do know. Socrates expressed this perfectly when he said, I know that I know nothing. This was not false humility. It was wisdom. True knowledge begins where arrogance ends. Insecure people feel the need to appear informed about everything. Secure people are comfortable admitting limits. The paradox is this. When you stop trying to sound smart, your words gain credibility. And when you do speak with certainty, people listen more closely. Principle 3. That sounds hard. When someone opens up about stress, failure, or pain, most people rush to fix it. They offer advice, share a similar story, or explain what the other person should do differently. The intention is good, but the effect is often the opposite. Instead of feeling supported, the person feels corrected. Advice, given too quickly, can feel like judgment. It suggests that their emotions are a problem to be solved rather than an experience to be understood. Now imagine a simpler response. That sounds hard. Nothing more. Nothing less. These three words don't try to solve anything. They don't minimize the pain or compete with it. They acknowledge it. An acknowledgement is powerful. It tells the other person, your experience makes sense. Marcus Aurelius wrote about being tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Yet most people do the reverse. They criticize others' emotions while excusing their own. Real strength, however, is gentle. It allows space for others to feel without needing to control the outcome. People don't always need solutions. They need safety. When you offer presence instead of advice, something shifts. Defensiveness fades. Trust grows. Healing begins, not because you said the right thing, but because you stayed with them in silence and understanding. Principle 4. The power of silence. Silence makes most people uncomfortable. The moment a conversation pauses, anxiety creeps in. Someone feels the urge to fill the gap with extra words, nervous laughter, or unnecessary explanations. Silence is often mistaken for failure, awkwardness, or lack of confidence. But in reality, silence is one of the strongest signals of self-control. Watch someone who is comfortable with silence. In a group setting, they don't rush to speak. They listen. They observe. And when they finally say something, the room shifts. People pay attention, not because the words are loud, but because the pause before them created weight. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote that silence is a lesson learned through suffering. Those who have faced themselves no longer fear quiet. They know that silence is not empty. It is full of awareness, intention, and restraint. Silence allows you to think clearly instead of reacting impulsively. It prevents you from speaking just to be seen. When you stop running from silence, you stop running from yourself. Your words become deliberate instead of automatic. In conversation, silence invites others to continue. It shows confidence without arrogance. It signals that you are not desperate for attention. Over time, people begin to lean in, waiting for your input, because they sense that when you speak, it will matter. Principle 5. I appreciate you. Most people say thank you out of habit. It's polite, expected, and often transactional. Someone does something for you, and you acknowledge the action. But appreciation goes deeper than gratitude. When you say, I appreciate you, you're not praising what someone did. You're recognizing who they are. You're acknowledging their character, their consistency, or their effort as a person. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the virtues of those around him, not because they were useful, but because they embodied qualities worth respecting. He understood that recognizing virtue in others strengthens it within ourselves. Used sincerely and sparingly, this phrase creates a powerful bond. It tells someone, I see you beyond your function. In a world that constantly measures worth by productivity and output, being seen as a human being feels rare. When appreciation is genuine, it stays with people. They may forget compliments, but they remember how you made them feel valued. And that feeling builds respect that no transaction ever can. Principle 6. No. Saying no is one of the most difficult skills to master, yet it is one of the most important. People ask for your time, your attention, and your energy, often without considering the cost to you. And many of us say yes automatically, driven by guilt, habit, or the fear of disappointing others. But every yes carries a hidden price. When you agree to things that don't align with your values or priorities, you quietly sacrifice your peace, your focus, and your growth. Over time, this creates resentment, not strength. The Stoics believe that words should be chosen carefully because they reflect inner discipline. Epictetus advised learning the meaning of what you say before you say it. A careless yes is just as damaging as a careless no. A calm, clear no does not require excuses or long explanations. It is spoken with respect, not hostility. And paradoxically, it earns respect in return. When people know your no is real, your yes becomes meaningful. Boundaries don't push the right people away. They filter out those who only value your availability. What remains are relationships built on respect, not obligation. And that is where real connection begins. Final mindset. Presence over performance. These 6 phrases are not social techniques designed to control outcomes or manipulate people. They are reflections of character. Each one points back to the same core idea. Presence matters more than performance. Performance is exhausting. It requires constant effort, constant talking, and constant adjustment to how others might perceive you. Presence, on the other hand, is quiet. It is grounded. It doesn't rush to impress or explain. It simply shows up fully. The Stoics believe that attraction is not created by adding more, but by removing what is unnecessary. When you subtract ego, noise, and a need for approval, what remains is clarity. And clarity feels calm. People are naturally drawn to calm energy because it feels safe and confident at the same time. To practice presence means being curious enough to listen, humble enough to say, I don't know, gentle enough to validate pain, disciplined enough to sit in silence, aware enough to recognize others, and strong enough to protect your boundaries. When you stop performing, something shifts. You no longer chase attention. Attention comes to you, not because of what you say, but because of who you are when you say it. Conclusion plus CTA. If this video changed the way you see communication, don't just watch, apply it. Pick one of these 6 phrases and practice it in the next 24 hours. Notice how people respond when you listen more, speak less, and choose your words with intention. Which phrase will you use first? Tell me more about that. I don't know, or that sounds hard. Leave a comment below and share your experience. And if you want to keep growing in calm, presence, and self-mastery, subscribe to Stoic Spring. Every day, we build the habit of protecting our peace, strengthening our mind, and becoming the kind of person others naturally respect.